Appeal court today affirms Valentine Ozigbo as PDP candidate for a Anambra governorship election, and the court has asked INEC to enlist him on the ballot. And we speak exclusively with the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, about the agenda of the APC in the southeast, his own plan for the APC in Ebonyi State, and the drive in the party in the region. Stay with us tonight on the program, everyone. We're live for you from the nation's capital. This is Abuja studio of Channels Television. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining to us tonight on Politics Today on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale. Thank you so much. Let's begin by telling you that President Muhammadu Buhari has been receiving guests today at the presidential villa. But two leaders from Borno State were amongst the callers at the villa. The governor of Borno State, Babangana Zulum, and the senator representing Borno North in the Senate, Senator Ali Ndume, was also there. Senator Ndume, after his meeting with the president, said it is now time to employ the carrot and stick approach and the fight against terror in the northeast region of the country. The lawmaker also spoke about the repentant Boko Haram members who have now surrendered to the military.
Inasmuch as we welcome the surrendering of the Boko Haram, it is very, very important that we follow the due process according to the law of the land and the international law. And that is to say, take them in, profile them, process them, investigate them, interrogate them, and then those that are innocent should be let go. And those that have blood in their hands, they should be appropriately prosecuted. And once the person surrenders now, he has an advantage. Once you surrender and you cannot be just summarily convicted, you will be given the right to go to court and declare you're innocent or otherwise. That is what I'm asking for. And I'm also saying that as long as the war is continuing, it is now time to apply the carrot and stick approach. While we are prosecuting the war rigorously in order to bring it to an end, a window is there available to tell those that are willing to surrender that you can surrender and then you'll be processed accordingly.
Senator Ali Ndume, the lawmaker representing Borno South in the National Assembly. It's now time for you to get to hear some of your political roundup stories.
The chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, General Buba Marwa, says any lawmaker who votes for legalization of cannabis dare not return to their constituency. The NDLEA chairman told State House correspondents today, after a meeting with the president, that Nigeria, with 10.6 million cannabis users, the highest in the world, should never support legalizing cannabis, and any lawmaker who does so dare not return to their constituency. The president, according to him, has given a positive response over establishment of barracks for staff of the NDLEA.
The youths, the families, all being destroyed because of cannabis and drugs. It won't be legalized by the grace of God.
The leadership crisis rocking the Ogun State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has taken another twist, as two factions of the party inaugurated chairmen into the 236 wards across the 20 local government areas of the state. The exercise, held at separate locations in Abeokuta, the state capital, and was attended by party faithful and supporters of the two factions of the party. The Enugu State House of Assembly has passed a bill prohibiting open grazing in the state to regulate cattle ranching and address the farmer-herder clashes. The House had held a one-day public hearing on the same issue, with relevant stakeholders present making both oral and written submissions.
Thank you so much. Let's begin the conversation for this first part of the program, and it's about the Anambra governorship politics. It's victory for the camp of Valentine Ozigbo in the People's Democratic Party of Anambra State in the southeast region of the country. Today, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja declared Mr. Ozigbo as a validly elected candidate of the PDP for the Anambra governorship election slated for the 6th of November 2021. A three-man panel of the justices led by the President of the Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Monica Dongban Mensem, made the declaration on Friday earlier today following an appeal filed by Mr. Ozigbo. The court held that the appeal challenging the judgment of the Awka High Court, which barred him from parading himself as a PDP candidate in the coming election, had merit and was therefore allowed. It also set aside the decision of the lower court, declaring it null and void. Let's now hear from the man who has been granted the go-ahead to fly the PDP flag. There's been some tussle, legal tussle, and some political maneuvering in the past few months. Mr. Valentine Ozigbo, he joins us from Anambra State. I understand that you're in Ogulu. Thank you so much, Mr. Ozigbo. It's good to see you. And I probably will think that congratulations will be in order considering the outcome of the court today. But let me get to know what you're feeling right now based on that outcome. It's been some very troubling past weeks for you and your team, and also on the other side because no one knows clearly who is the candidate of the PDP. But how does this come to you?
Hello, Cheryl. I don't know if you can hear me well because we are struggling with the quality of the internet here. I want to say thank you for having me. And yes, indeed, congratulations is in order because it's been a toughest journey. But I have to say thank God. Thank God because indeed it's a victory that is for the whole of Anambra people and also showing the manifestation of God's grace upon what we're doing. And so I'm elated, I'm happy, I'm excited to be ultimately the authentic and the only candidate of PDP to fly the flag for the November 6th election. So I'm happy and I'm excited. Thank you.
Legally speaking, I know that this may not be the last point of this kind of case. The apex court is still there. Should your opponent think that they want to challenge this at the Supreme Court? Do you have that fear? And what are you thinking should that option come to the table?
Yeah, I must say, first, the idea of doing this, getting actively involved in politics, is actually to change the story for good, change our narrative for good. And I'm glad that I have this opportunity to do so. The idea of also my victory being challenged in court is expected. We knew that things like are about to happen, and we are hopeful, we are optimistic that victory is assured wherever the way the Honorable Justice of the Appeal Court has rendered the judgment, and from all getting unanimous decision, I must wish to go beyond the appeal. So I don't expect this to go beyond here. But should it go, in the unlikely event that it goes, we also not perturbed, we're not worried because we have what I call a rock bottom, solid case that nobody can challenge anywhere. So I am optimistic that going forward, we're just going to center our mind on the grassroots, what we need to do to speak to the people of Anambra, how we intend to usher in great governance on their side. Because we've suffered sufficient distraction so far. I think what we want to just focus our mind is basically champion a campaign at the grassroots and go around the entire 26 wards and the 21 local governments from their next governor. And ultimately, I believe PDP will have the victory. And if they wish to go beyond appeal court to the Supreme Court, we have our lawyers to deal with that. That's all I would say.
So again, one would think that, well, each time these conversations come about, the internal rumbling in political parties often say, oh, this members of politicians will say it is a family affair. But I should think that perhaps you're making moves to reach out to your opponent, or maybe you're reaching out to find a political solution to this problem. Is that the case? For example, is Senator Ugochukwu reaching out to you, or are you reaching out to him? Because the last time I spoke with him on the program here, he said he's also thinking of the possibility of a political solution to the internal rumblings in your party.
All right. For me, I am an advocate of continuous engagement. I've always done my best to reach out, and I know that when the opportunity comes for us to sit on the table, we will sit on the table. I open my hands to this at all times. But I also must say to you that indeed, what we have in PDP this time is actually not a family problem. I said this with every sense of seriousness. PDP structure is behind this. It's not a case of multiple factions and multiple primaries. No, those basically one primary, which was organized by the National Working Committee, which led to my emergence, and one primary that was monitored INEC, and people from the National Committee to NEC, to state, to the governors, to all behind member who wished to test, decided to go to court. And I believe that should be settled now. Because it's not just Valentine having the victory today. It's also the PDP. PDP appealed this case, and PDP, Anambra people won. So I believe that in a family, to have people who behave in a different way. But I have to them is we should have further distraction.
It's been a lot of trouble trying to get to hear you. The connection is getting more and more very horrible now. But I must sincerely thank you, Mr. Valentine Ozigbo, for your time. I wish we could talk more about your chances and what lies ahead for your party in this race. But unfortunately, that network connection is not going to allow us to go further. But sincere thanks to you, Mr. Valentine Ozigbo, and congratulations again for emerging victorious at the appeal court. Thank you so much. Let's switch gears now and speak about, we stay within the Southeast region. The 2023 general elections draw near, and players at various levels are already strategizing and preparing at the grassroots ahead of the big one, which is the main election, and determining who will lead Nigeria in the coming election cycle. This is perhaps what has informed the All Progressives Congress APC in Ebonyi State, holding its delegate congress for the 171 wards in the 13 local government areas of the state, which held at the Ecumenical Center in Abakaliki, the state capital. Governor Dave Umahi, who presided over the stakeholders meeting, assured party faithful of a level playing field for all members. Governor Dave Umahi joins us now from Abakaliki, the capital of Ebonyi State. Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight. It's good to see you again. I know it's been a very busy day for you after all those activities we watched live on TV. But let's begin the conversation tonight about some of the internal workings of the APC. It's a new party that you are heading in Ebonyi State since you moved from the PDP to the APC. And I want to ask first and foremost, this is your first task of setting up a structure for your party in Ebonyi State. I mean, the APC now, you've done it in the PDP as a governor as the second time. But how easy is that? Because I understand that one of your very close ally just left your party. But how easy is it for you to be setting up a brand new party structure in your state?
Thank you, Sheil. Good evening, viewers. I must say that God made it easier than I thought. And I think that one of the main factors beside the grace of God is the fact that I put my hands open, being the leader of the party in the state. Does not mean that during election I will lead in all the wards and polling units. So I made sure that I allow the stakeholders in all the wards to decide what happens in their wards. And that has made it very, very easy for me to have a very united APC in Ebonyi State.
Your commissioner for internal security, I understand, and border peace had resigned, but we are hearing that it might be the next chairman of the APC in the state. Is that the plan?
If he's elected, he has to be elected to become the chairman of the APC. He has to be elected.
But I mean, are you looking in that direction? Does he have your prayers to do that? Because I understand there was a valedictory session for him, and as soon as he left, I mean, he was wished well. But what we are hearing on the ground in Ebonyi is that he might be doing that. Is that what? Did he have any conversation in that respect with you?
Leadership is about keeping your secrets. If he did, I'm not going to be disclosing it. But you saw what happened today. It's a very transparent process in Ebonyi State. So even if he has that wish, he has to be, that wish has to be subjected to the will of the people. So if that happens, Sheil will be there and he will know.
All right, it will be interesting to see what happens. But the PDP in Ebonyi State have been talking about, I mean, considering the fact that some of your friends whom you left in the PDP, they still remained, and the former governor, some lawmakers are still staying back in the PDP, and they're saying the PDP is still very strong. And they're already drumming that sound that come the next election cycle, the APC doesn't have a stronghold in Ebonyi State. Are you worried about this kind of tendencies when you left the PDP for the APC, and the fear that when you're going into the next election, the chances of your new party at the next elections?
Sheil, thank you very much. You know, talk is very cheap. Ask those people that still remain in PDP to stage one rally. I'm not talking about war rally, I'm talking about state rally, so that they can show you the number they have if they want to make noise. Talk is very cheap. Even one of the senators could not win his polling unit during his own election in Ebonyi State. So, but in my character, I'm upbringing, I don't like to talk about people. They have their problems. and I don't remember them.
So you were part of, you are part of the campaign organization for the APC that was set up for the Anambra governorship election. Already, we saw about 6 lawmakers from Anambra State who dumped the All Progressive Grand Alliance for the APC. And Senator Stella Odua also dumped the PDP for the APC. Give us a sense of the strategy of the APC in Anambra State, of which you are a part of that campaign organization. Is it a strategy includes you emptying other party to gain support for your party?
Shigo, I don't understand what you mean by emptying other parties. You know, Anambra people are members of these parties. And so, incidentally, I'm the subcommittee chairman on strategy and the deputy chairman on Anambra election. The strategy is to sell our party, the APC, to Anambra people and let them see what Mr. President has done for Anambra people, has done for Southeast, and sell our candidates, you know, Senator Anduba, to Anambra people. And if it means collapsing other parties to fuse into our own party, APC, that's a very good strategy. But the important thing is that whoever is from Anambra State and belongs to any party or doesn't belong to any party, it's our target, you know, to sell our party and sell our candidate, you know, to them.
It will be interesting to see how this plays out, knowing full well that the ruling party in Anambra State is the All Progressives Grand Alliance. And historically, if you look at what APGA means to people of Anambra State and, in fact, the Southeast people, let me get your view first and foremost. APGA, Anambra State. What is your thoughts about that party and the governorship election in that state? They've shown capacity in winning elections. Is this a major worry for your party?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Don't forget that in the last governorship election, that APC came second. And it was not a distant second. And this time around, we intend to work, you know, very hard to ensure victory for APC. Before this time, APC was, you know, in existence only in Imo State. But today, we have Imo State, we have Ebonyi State, and we are still counting by the quality and the caliber, you know, and the content of the people from Southeast that are in APC. Don't forget that also Senator Joy Emodi, you know, BOT member of, you know, troubled PDP, has also joined APC in Anambra State. So we're very hopeful that with the quality of the personalities in Anambra State that are joining APC because of the commitment of APC in Southeast, and of course also because of the person, you know, of Senator Anduba, a man that is a very calm person and very unassuming and very humble person. So I think that these factors will help us to say our party from second position Anambra State to first position.
What would you be telling the people of Anambra State about the APC, a party that they've not allowed to govern the state at the governorship level? What would you be telling them about your party this time around when you go for the campaigns?
Incidentally, Senator Anduba has told, you know, his manifesto when he was campaigning, you know, as one of the aspirants. He said, look, I'm going to make Anambra State to look like a Ebonyi State. And that was even when I was in PDP. And so I'm very happy for that. which means that irrespective of party affiliation, he has eyes, for, development. He has eyes, for what will be good for Anambra people. So I'll be telling them, look, from the one, our founding fathers, our leaders in Southeast, we've always played at the center. We've always belonged to the ruling party at the center. And that it pays us as Southeast people to belong to the ruling party, to belong to the center. So by asking them that we have a lot to benefit by belonging to the center as we have done in the past. And so the light that our founding fathers and our forefathers gave to us, in the committee of the nation Nigeria, should not die in our hand. So I would like to let them know that we have to unite behind APC in Southeast and that we are bound to get more.
So, I mean, in terms of, those are some kind of, it's going to be a political conversation, and it does look like one that you have picked up right now. But in practical terms, what would you say that the APC stands for in Anambra State in terms of the deliverables? Because they will be asking those questions. What has your party done for us? What should we be expecting? But first and foremost, people want to see, what have you given us first and foremost? And what would you be telling them that the APC is offering or has offered to the people of Anambra State and the Southeast?
Without, having total knowledge of the commitment of federal government in Anambra State, but I know of, for sure, of a number of federal roads that are ongoing in Anambra State. I know of almost the biggest project, of Mr. President in the entire country, the second Niger Bridge. Before now, it was a political statement by previous administration. Only Mr. President has made it to be a reality and is committed to completing it, before its exit date. I'm so excited about that project because it's going to open up Southeast, quite a lot. I also know of the dredging of, the port there, and so many other, incentives, including all the appointments, that Mr. President has given to the people of Anambra State. And coming back to use Ebonyi State to set an example of what, Southeast is bound to benefit. You recall that even when I was in PDP, I refused to castigate Mr. President because I say it's not the culture of my family, it's not the culture of, an Igbo man. You don't castigate, your leader, you pray for your leader. And I've been quite close to Mr. President, even when I was in the other party. And by that reason, Mr. President has, favored, Southeast tremendously. Even though Mr. President is a man of equity, because whatever he did for me as governor of Ebonyi State, before and now, he has also done for every other governor. But specifically, there is no agenda we have taken to Mr. President on behalf of Southeast that has not listened to us. So I'll be telling them that it come closer to Mr. President and see that he's a man of fairness, he's a man of honesty, and if he makes a promise to you, he will keep it. And I can say that under Mr. President, Ebonyi State is one of the fastest growing states. And I have a lot to tell about the assistance of Mr. President, not only to Ebonyi State, but the entire, other states of the Federation. And I'm very proud to belong to APC, very proud to be playing at the center. And I can tell you that Ebonyi has developed under APC government.
Let's take a breather, Governor. But when we come back, there's a lot more to talk about on the Southeast politics, the APC. In fact, we will be touching on the 2023 politics, how things are shaping up, the internal affairs of the APC at the center, and the views of Governor Dave Umahi. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back. Governor, if you can hear me now, I was making reference to the internal workings and some of the disagreements that we've seen play out in, for example, in Anambra APC. I'm aware that a minister is not agreeing with the candidate of the party that emerged. In fact, the process is not even in agreement with it. But you had a stakeholders meeting of leaders of the party in Enugu where you were talking to them of the need to join forces and to align in moving the party forward. But if you are going into an election, for example, in Anambra State, how much of that reconciliation have you been able to achieve?
Thank you very much, Shengo. I'm aware that the primary election, for APC, Buba candidate selection was not agreeable to all the aspirants that contested. I'm aware of that. Some of them complained to me. Some of them complained to Senator His Excellency Hope of Imo State, and of course, Senator Ken Namani. And I'm also aware that they have taken their complaints to the national leadership of the party. A reconciliation committee was set up, and they have been mediating on the matter. And of course, there was also, a peer committee that was set up. So all these things put together, give Mr. President, the leader of the party, more information than each and every one of us. And having considered all the complaints and all the reconciliation efforts and the report of the Congress, the appeal committee, I think in the wisdom of Mr. President, he has appealed that we allow the person declared to be the winner to be the candidate of the party. And I think in a disciplined environment, the moment the national leader and Mr. President has, taken a position and appealed to others, because in our father house there are many mansions. So if this one doesn't work, another will work for all the people that contested. So I think that everyone who is a member of APC, especially in Anambra State, should, queue behind the candidates of Senator Anduba. And this is very important for the discipline of the party.
At that meeting in Enugu, I didn't, in the picture that I saw, except if I am not able to capture, all the people that are supposed to be there. But if that was a stakeholders meeting, I was expecting that, for example, the senator, the minister from Anambra State was going to be there. Was there any reason that he was not there, or perhaps he's still aggrieved about the situation of things?
Yeah, I wasn't, in a position to know why he wasn't there. But many of the ministers were not there because they were, in one national assignment or the other. For example, my own minister, Minister of Science and Technology, was in Kano State. But one minister represented all of them, and that's the Minister of State for Solid Mineral, Chief Uche, that he represented all of them and took permission for all of them. So I don't think that the Minister of Labor will alter or be against the position that Mr. President, has taken. After all, it's a quite close ally of Mr. President.
The candidate of your party in Anambra State, what can you tell for the people of Anambra State who are watching now, either at home in Anambra State or away from Anambra State, or those of them who are even in diaspora? What can you tell them about the candidate that you have put forward? How sellable is that man for the job of the governor of Anambra State?
Thank you. I think one of the key qualities of a good leader is, ability to be assessed And I think that he has scored, first in this regard. I think Senator Andy Oba is a very humble person. I think he's approachable, and I think he takes advice. One of the reasons why we fail as leaders is when we think that we know it all and we can do it all, by ourselves. So, but I think that this is one man that is very humble. This man is approachable. This man is resourceful. This man already has an agenda for his people. And so I'll be telling a number of people to look at these qualities, because I always say that it doesn't matter the amount of EFCC and ICPC and whatever the laws, it takes a man with the fear of God. It takes a man that has love for his people to really work for, his people. Because, you have every reason to either work for your people or not to work for your people. But I think this particular man, because of his level of character and content, I'm quite sure that he's going to work for Anambra people.
So, if you look at the kind of candidates that are up in this election, what are the chances of your party, especially the candidate?
I find it difficult to talk about people, but I will talk about my own candidate, and I'll talk about my party, APC. And I will say that APC has made quite, a very good inroad in Southeast, and that APC is growing in lengths and bounds, and I'm very sure that APC is going to take Anambra State without prejudice to the fact that I have a very good friend who is the governor of Anambra State. But he is exiting, and there's nothing wrong in my saying that, my party, is preferred in Anambra State because of the character of the person I know. I can't run down any other candidate in Anambra State. Not in my character, I can't do that. Other candidates are also my friends, and, they're good in their own right. But my own is the best, and my party is the best.
So I'll come back to the politics of the Southeast. But let me ask specifically in Ebonyi State, is the local government congress in the APC holding tomorrow as scheduled or as planned?
Yes. We just concluded today with all the stakeholders. We did everything in a very transparent process. We allowed the stakeholders and then the grassroots people to choose who will be their leaders at that level. And it's concluded and it's going to hold. Nothing is stopping it. The national leadership has given us the go-ahead to hold it. The Congress committee from the national level, they are already in Ebonyi State. They addressed the meeting today. And so we are good to go.
I'm seeing in some state, Delta, some members of the party have gone to court in Delta, in Ogun State. In fact, there were inauguration of different, two camps are inaugurating different chairmen from their own camps. That's a very big division if you look at the way things are going. But are you worried because of, if you look back at the Supreme Court judgment that a lot of people make mention and talk about, which is still generating, the PDP had gone to court. Some members of the party also, they've gone to court to test and challenge the law, the outcome of that judgment on the veracity and the authenticity of the Buni-led leadership of the APC. Do you have any doubt or any fear at whatsoever about some of the ongoings, these legal issues that are coming up here and there, especially with the exercise of tomorrow?
Yeah, Chegu, there is no fear at all. Recall that you held me on this channel over the same issue, even before the Supreme Court in their wisdom made a pronouncement on that. And incidentally, some of the reasons I advanced were also reasons advanced by the Supreme Court coincidentally, because I had said that, about 3 sections of the APC constitution, has empowered the NEC to appoint, caretaker committee or committees for that matter. And in particular, the one section of it that says that, where a vacancy exists in any organ, at any level of the party, that the NEC is empowered to appoint, committee, to perform such functions. And it doesn't make the functions of that committee an executive committee. And if you recall that in the judgment of the Supreme Court, they also said that, look, the Electoral Act has not defined, who is the person that must submit the names of candidates and so on and so forth. So I don't see any sense in that. And I use my Executive Council as an example, or the Federal Executive Council. The ESCO in each state, in their wisdom, once in a while could appoint what is called an ESCO committee to perform certain functions that must also be in one ministry or the other. It has not made that particular chairman of that committee to be the chief executive of that ministry upon which that function is performed from. So this is just, people going to court is an exercise in futility. And I wonder why PDP will go to court when they are defiling their own constitution. It is so strange that a member of a party should wake up and say that they suspend their national chairman. The constitution of their own party, in PDP, has said that no member of the National Executive Committee of the PDP shall be disciplined other than the National Executive Committee. So in their own case, they are messing up their own constitution, and then they have the guts to now start going to join us in that for a matter that Supreme Court has already given judgment upon. So I think it's a waste of their own time and resources. I think they're gambling and they're believing that they can, influence the court to rule against the ruling of the highest court in the land. So I don't see any benefit of those going to court. And I think that what we are doing is quite in order, and it will stand and it will hold.
There are a lot of people who are aggrieved about the ward congresses, and the structure of the party is they are in layers, from the ward to the state, from the state to the region, and the region to the national level, before you then talk about the national convention. But if we have these array of appeals coming from the ward congress, you can imagine what may come out of the local government congresses and, in fact, the state. I mean, is this usual or is it unusual, the kind of grievances that people have held on the ward congresses that was held?
I quite disagree with you. I disagree with your position in this because when they called out those that had petitions in the national level of APC in trying to set up the appeal, I think there were just about 6 states, 6 over 36 plus Abuja. I don't know what percentage is going to be given to you, but I think that there was also appeal in one ward in my own state, and the person that wrote the petition says that they should carry the ward congress to Enugu State to observe. That's, for me, it's no petition, but in the eyes of the public, there was a petition because the law does not allow you to carry the ward congress beyond the ward, location. And NEC, as required by the Electoral Act, had demanded for the venues of all the congresses which were submitted to them 21 working days ahead of the congresses. So these are the kind of funny petitions. You see, in the Black Africa, it's very difficult in most cases for people to admit, that they have not made it. And so they will continue to try and continue to try. So I think I give the national caretaker leadership, 99.9% pass excellent mark, in the conduct of the World Congress. But let me tell you that the World Congress is the end of the matter because it is from the ward that you now have to elect the local government. So, and from the same ward people come to elect at the state level, and then the people elected at state level, some of them are also going to the national. So the moment you get the word right, the rest will also be right. And so if one word is wrong from the World Congress, then it will continue to report. But it doesn't constitute anything like, 2% of the entire process. So I think that there is no problem going forward.
Let me take you to national politics now. And I know one of your worries for leaving the PDP is the consideration that the region, the Southeast, where you represent in the national politics, is not properly catered for in the People's Democratic Party. That in the list was the summary of what we could get out of your grievance from leaving the PDP. But as it is right now, there are a lot of people who are saying maybe the Southeast leaders could come together and determine whether or not they can have a unified position on the so-called Igbo presidency for 2023. First and foremost, let me get your view. I've had this conversation with you. Are there positives for the Southeast region for the 2023 presidency? Are there hopes that we might have an Igbo man or a candidate from the Southeast emerge as a president of Nigeria in 2023?
Thank you, Sheung. First of all, Sheung, I thought that you would have taken on the leadership of PDP, who called me names when I left PDP on the ground of injustice. Right now, the discussion going on in PDP does not suggest that the reasons upon which they called me names will not take place in PDP. I don't see them conceding the presidency to Southeast, irrespective of the past support of Southeast people to PDP. And that's why Southeast people are waking up and are getting wiser and say, look, if we have followed you for these years, and in every consideration, we are not good, we are just good to be following you, then that is not good enough. Don't forget that the late Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Alex Ekwueme, was the founding chairman of the PDP. And by right and to honor him, they should have been able to, concede the presidency to them. If they're afraid of Southeast winning the presidency in Southeast, have other people that they consider it, has everybody that, flew the flag of PDP won the presidency? So when you treat everybody on the platform of, equality, then it makes everybody to feel happy. I am very hopeful that the issue of the next president of Federal Republic of Nigeria is beyond the wisdom of man, is beyond, the decision of man. But God is the person who has power and might. He owns our lives, and he will take that decision. But I know he will take it, through our leader, His Excellency, Mr. President. He's going to impute in his heart, the right decision that will help this nation. That's what I think.
Governor Umahi, if a Southeasterner or an Igbo man does not emerge as a candidate of the APC for 2023, what would you do?
Sheung, if it were you, if it were me, what will you do?
because I'm not a politician, I may not be able to answer. And because I'm the one asking the question, you are our guest on the program. And the reason why I'm asking this is because you left the PDP because you think they could not cater for the yearnings of the Igbo man in the PDP concerning 2023. And that's why I wanted to know what would be your reaction, or what would you do if a candidate other than a Southeasterner emerges for the APC in 2023?
The heartbeat of the people of Southeast is that they should be given a chance, whether in PDP or APC, for the presidency of this country, for reason of equity, fairness, and justice. I took that position in PDP. And one of the reasons I took that position is because the Southeast, people have supported PDP, all the way, and they have never been given any opportunity to do that. If I follow APC for this length of time, and they don't give Southeast, an opportunity, I will feel bad. I will feel bad. But what I will do, if I stay this length of time like I stayed in PDP and that happens, I wouldn't be able to tell you. It depends on what God states me in my mind. But I think strongly that the future of this country is in the hand of God. And what pleases God, he will do. Remember, when I joined APC, I did not join APC because I needed to insist that Southeast must be the next president. I never did. I joined APC with all my heart and in support of Mr. President, and in appreciation of all his support, even when I was in the other party, and also to prove that the Igbo man believes so much in one Nigeria. That is the reason why I joined APC, apart from my protest of the injustice meted to Southeast in PDP.
On the final note, and perhaps in 30 seconds, Governor, because we're totally out of time, did you foresee what is happening in the PDP, the leadership crisis? Did you see it coming?
Yes. I would say I'm happy with what is happening to the chairman Secondus, because he was a bit naive. When in PDP, I had a revelation from God, and I prophesied that Obaseki was going to win. He was in APC, I was in PDP. A governor of PDP instigated Secondus to set up a disciplinary committee against a sitting governor. And I was very, very upset about that. But in humility, I submitted myself to that committee. But I know that a particular governor, who is the owner of PDP, did that, and Secondus had to, succumb to that. And that divided their working committee. So when I was leaving, I told them, look, do two things. I was told that the working committee, especially Secondus, was going to be unduly removed to give one man or two, the leverage of owning the PDP. I said, that should not happen. And I told Secondus, and I told all the working committee when they visited me in Abuja. And the second one was the issue of seat presidency to Southeast, and then we all be together. But they did not. But I think it's the will of God to be where I am. And I'm very happy where I am. And I have seen justice, I have seen equity, and nobody said master in this place.
Governor Dave Umahi, Executive Governor of Ebonyi State, it's always a pleasure having these conversations with you. Thank you so much for your time tonight. And that's how we close the program tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Seun Okinbaloye. Bye-bye.